When your web app is causing a scandal, try the elements and the sources panel. When your JavaScript is making a blunder, use the console and JavaScript debugger. When web pages are causing bandwidth stress, the network panel shows you the request. So speed up your page with just a few rules. It's time to discover DevTools.
If you've been a web developer for a while, odds are you remember the bad old days of web development debugging. If you get a JavaScript error on your web page, well, maybe the browser gives you a line number, maybe it doesn't, and maybe that line number brings you to where the error actually happened. Same thing goes for style sheet debugging. You have a CSS property, and why isn't it showing up on the page? Well, you go back to your file, you update it, check the browser. Back to the file, update it, check your browser. Luckily these days we have Chrome Developer Tools. Developer Tools allows you to do things like live edit your HTML and CSS right there in the page. It comes with a powerful JavaScript debugger and also a bunch of tools to optimize your website performance. It makes programming for the web, dare I say, easy. I'm Greg Pollock, and in this course we're going to be walking through all the major features of Chrome Developer Tools. Now we're going to start with some of the basics which you already may be familiar with, so feel free to skip ahead to the next couple chapters to get into the more advanced material. Meanwhile, in Level 1, we're going to be jumping into the Elements panel. Throughout the videos and the challenges, we're going to be working with a scheduling app which we've been working on that you can see here, but we want to make some changes to this application. First thing we'll want to do is open Developer Tools. To do that, we look for the icon on our browser with the 3 lines on it. Then find the Tools menu item, then click on Developer Tools. If you're not already familiar with the keyboard shortcut to call up Developer Tools and to close Developer Tools from within your browser, take note of it here listed next to the menu item. It'll be much more convenient to open it using that keyboard shortcut next time. By default, DevTools will appear at the bottom part of your Chrome window, and we can close it at any time either by clicking that X icon in the top left or simply by using our keyboard shortcut. So here in our calendar application, we want to make some changes to the HTML structure of it. Now we could go back onto our server and make the changes there and then refresh our browser, but maybe we just want to play around and live edit the page. To do that, we want to make sure we're in the Elements panel you see here. In this panel, you can see a bunch of HTML on the left side and a bunch of CSS on the right. But what you're really seeing there on the left side is a representation of the DOM, or Document Object Model. You can think of it as a collection of the different elements in your HTML put into sort of a tree format. So if you want, you can press on those little triangle shapes and it'll show you more or less code in that document tree. If you're looking at your rendered HTML page and you're wondering, well, what HTML created that particular element? What you can do is right-click on the element. In our case, we're going to right-click on the button and select Inspect Element. This will open the Elements panel if we don't already have it open and show us that particular element highlighted inside the DOM. You might also notice that it's showing us the CSS for that element on the right side, but we'll get more into that in the next level. Another way you can select an element is by clicking the magnifying glass in the bottom left of the screen to enter the element selection mode. Then, when you hover over the page, you can see the different element boundaries, and when you left-click on one, it will select that element in the Elements panel. Now let's go ahead and make some live changes. For example, let's change the text on our button. To change that text, all we have to do is double-click on it, type a new title, and then we can just hit Enter when we're done, or click somewhere else on the page. If we right-click on a particular element, we're given a bunch of different options, including the ability to add or edit attributes. Let's go ahead and add an ID attribute to this element. Pretty easy. Also in this menu, we can choose to edit a node as HTML, where we can change any part of the element or add additional elements. Finally, if we click and drag an element, we can change its location on the page. It shouldn't come as a surprise that you can select any element and hit the Delete button to remove that element, or even right-click and select the Delete menu item. Well, now it's time for you to practice using some of these techniques in the challenges.